What would happen if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? What if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Not gradually, but in an instant. The ground beneath your feet would stop moving, but you wouldn't. And what happens next would be unlike anything humanity has ever experienced. Earth suddenly stops rotating. Imagine Earth's rotation suddenly coming to a complete halt. The planet itself would stop spinning, but everything on its surface, including people, buildings, vehicles, and even the atmosphere, would still have its original momentum. Near the equator, Earth's surface normally moves at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour because of its rotation. Stopping that motion instantly would unleash enormous forces. The first seconds. Earth rotates incredibly fast. Near the equator, the surface moves at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour. If the planet suddenly stopped, anything that wasn't firmly attached to the ground would continue moving eastward at enormous speed because of inertia. You wouldn't simply fall over. You could be thrown across the ground at hundreds of meters per second. Buildings and infrastructure would be devastated. And then comes something even more frightening. The atmosphere would keep moving. Massive winds appear. The atmosphere would not immediately stop with the ground. Air would continue rushing around the planet, producing winds potentially moving at incredible speeds. These winds could become powerful enough to destroy structures, reshape landscapes, and carry enormous amounts of dust and debris across continents. The atmosphere itself would become one of the planet's most destructive forces. The oceans become catastrophic. The oceans would also continue moving because of their momentum. Water near the equator would surge across coastlines, producing enormous flooding and potentially devastating tsunami-like waves. Over time, the oceans would begin redistributing themselves toward the planet's poles. Continents and coastlines as we know them could eventually look completely different. Day and night change dramatically. If Earth stopped rotating but continued orbiting the sun, one side of the planet would experience extremely long periods of daylight, while the other would face extremely long darkness. Instead of our familiar 24-hour cycle, a solar day would become roughly 1 year long. Some regions could face months of intense sunlight followed by months of darkness, creating extreme temperature differences. Earth's magnetic and environmental systems become relevant. Earth's rotation is connected to several important planetary processes, although it is important not to assume that the magnetic field would simply disappear instantly. Earth's magnetic field is primarily generated by movement of molten material in its outer core. A sudden stop in rotation could also disrupt atmospheric circulation, weather patterns, ocean currents, and ecosystems. Life would face an environment radically different from the one in which it evolved. The planet would eventually be transformed. After the initial catastrophe, Earth would enter a completely different state. Climate zones, oceans, weather patterns, and ecosystems would gradually reorganize. Human civilization as we know it would almost certainly not survive such a sudden event. Earth would still exist, but it would no longer be the familiar rotating world that supports our current climate and way of life. Ending so, the next time you feel the Earth beneath your feet, remember this. You are standing on a planet spinning at incredible speed, and that constant motion is one of the things that makes our world the way it is. What do you think would be the most terrifying consequence of Earth suddenly stopping its rotation? Do watch out for a new video next week.